Hello, my name is Kenny Youmans. I want to share with you today one of my most favorite stories. A couple of years ago, I was invited to speak to the Swan Quarter, North Carolina Chamber of Commerce annual banquet. At first, I declined because to get to Swan Quarter, North Carolina from Orlando, Florida is an all-day trip. I had to fly into Charlotte, North Carolina, spend 3 hours in the airport, and then fly to Greenville, North Carolina, and then I had over an hour's drive. But it turned out to be my most memorable trip. Swan Quarter, North Carolina is a very small commercial fishing and farming community located on the banks of the Pamlico Sound. The Pamlico Sound eventually goes on out to the Atlantic Ocean to Cape Hatteras and Nags Head, which is known as the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Swan Quarter is known as the Inner Banks of North Carolina. Swan Quarter is the county seat for Hyde County. Hyde County may be the largest county in North Carolina, but it may also have the smallest population. They don't even have 5,000 people in the entire county. They don't even have one traffic light in the entire county. But Hyde County is also the home of the largest natural lake in North Carolina, Lake Matamuskeet. And Lake Matamuskeet is a wildlife preserve. And at certain times of the year, there's so many ducks, geese, and wild swan on the lake that you can hardly see the water. Swan Quarter has been hit by 2 major hurricanes. The last was Hurricane Isabel in 2003. A number of homes were totally destroyed and many businesses were severely damaged. Swan Quarter has also been hit by a number of floods. And because of the floods, many homes are now built up on stilts. And also because of the floods, today there is a dike that separates Swan Quarter from the Pamlico Sound. Swan Quarter was settled back in the 1700s, and in 1875, a group of Methodists decided they wanted to build a new church in downtown Swan Quarter. The property they wanted to buy had a beautiful view overlooking the Pamlico Sound, but the property they wanted to buy was owned by Mr. Sam Saller, and Mr. Sam Saller didn't want to sell his property. And the more the church tried to buy the property, the more determined Mr. Saller was not to sell. So finally, the church buys another piece of property which is located about 3 blocks from Mr. Saller's, and they build a new church. And on September the 15th, 1875, they had a dedication of the new church, and they named the new church First Methodist Church of downtown Swan Quarter. But 3 days later, there's a flood. The flood waters pick up the church and start floating the church right down Main Street of Swan Quarter. Miss Lilia Brin, who was born and raised in Swan Quarter, was standing in her kitchen looking out her kitchen window, and she sees the church floats right past her house. She sees it take a left, go down about 1.5 blocks, and sit right down on the property owned by Mr. Sam Saller. Mr. Saller is so in awe, he gives the property to the church, and the church becomes known as the church that was moved by the hand of God. And they changed the name of the church from the First Methodist Church of Swan Quarter, North Carolina, to the Providence Methodist Church of Swan Quarter, North Carolina. And I had an opportunity to visit this church. It is still one of the most active churches in Swan Quarter today. And when you walk in the entrance of the church, there's a sign right above the door that says, "The church that was moved by the hand of God." True story. Thank you.